Hi, my name's Nick and I make videos about the challenges faced by individuals with autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. Today's topic is dating whilst being on the autism spectrum. To swoon or not to swoon? That is indeed a very big question. Dating whilst autistic. Dating presents a unique set of challenges for the autistic person. You see, we are not very good at reading subtleties, and we tend to take things very literally. Now, my family were very strict and traditional. Male and female roles were set, and requirements for behaviour were made very clear. The rule was you grew up, left school, got a gender-appropriate, sensible job, met an appropriate male, because I was a female, married, and immediately commenced with breeding. Emotional matters were not discussed. Dating and relationship advice was not provided. So I learned everything courtesy of Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is not the best teacher. Hollywood does not reflect reality, but my little autistic brain took Hollywood very, very seriously. Imprinted on my young mind were set rules of engagement with the opposite sex. As a girl, I needed to find a boy. I needed an appropriate mate. So firstly, what was an appropriate mate? Firstly, he's over 6 foot and handsome. He has a horse and is very good at riding it and can tame any wild animal with ease. He would often wear a white hat. And if he wasn't wearing a white hat, he would look very good in tights and excel at sword fighting and using a bow and arrow. That is what men are supposed to be. Men in suits are probably salesmen who are dodgy, or accountants who are boring, or maybe they are spies and you can't trust them. So I needed a cowboy. Secondly, what do I need to do to attract this suitable mate? I need to be well endowed up top and wear suitably low-cut dresses. I need apparently to sing at the drop of a hat about whatever is happening around me, whether it's the weather, hills and mountains being alive, cars flying, doing housework. Basically, a good woman bursts into song at the drop of a hat, whatever is happening, and everyone around her is also going to join in and provide a chorus and start singing too, because Hollywood said this is what happens when you meet people and fall in love. I would also have to be good at swooning when being grabbed and kissed by these tall, dark, handsome strangers. My other option would be the other type of woman. Now, this other type of woman generally lived upstairs in a saloon, and she was generally naked and just like lying around in bed waiting for a sad, lonely cowboy who needed help with a bath and needed a cuddle. But this type of woman seemed to be a bit frowned on, but I wasn't really quite sure why. But I didn't think I should become one of those. So I became quite sure that I was destined to marry a cowboy. So I would stuff socks down my tops and I'd practice all this singing about stuff and dancing in my room so that I knew how to attract the right kind of mate when the time came. Problem was I really wasn't very good at it. I can't sing. So no, that just wasn't working for me. But I did try very, very hard. So by the time I was a teenager, I really had no idea how to attract a mate. Not only was I not physically the feminine ideal, I couldn't sing and dance, and I didn't have the right physical attributes. I was a short, dumpy, clumsy tomboy who was deeply unpopular. My mum thought it'd be nice to give me an afro to make me look trendy. I just looked weird. The other problem was we did not have any cowboys where I lived, which was in the UK. There were plenty of cows and horses, but they had farmers tending to them, and the farmers didn't ride these horses. The only men that rode around on horses wore tight white trousers, fitted jackets, funny round hats, and said tally-ho, and galloped a lot around the fields chasing packs of baying hounds. And they certainly did not fit my ideal of a suitable mate. So realistically, my options appeared to be normal humans, the ones that were just around every day. But those are ones that I didn't get. They weren't bad, but they were just humans. So how do you date a human? At least they don't seem to require the singing and dancing bit. So, by watching TV shows, I found out that you should hang around in bars and pretend to be someone else, then go off to a hotel room or a house or an apartment and commence with the throwing of each other around a lot. Dating apparently involved drinking and hurling each other up against walls or throwing each other onto random surfaces and moaning a lot. I did not know how to do this. I thought perhaps I should learn a martial art or something so that I could. There didn't appear to be any sort of swooning. The problem was I'd been raised that good girls never ever went alone to bars, and they never got picked up in bars. And I didn't have female friends to go to bars with anyway, so I couldn't go with a group. So we don't go to bars. I stuck to that rule. I've always taken that rule very seriously. Autistic people do like to follow rules. So for me, dating was sort of accidental at first, because I didn't, and I still actually don't, understand if I'm being asked out on a date. Unless a bloke specifically says the word date, accompanying an invitation to do something, I generally don't realise that I'm actually going on a date, or even that I'm being asked. You know, would I like dinner sometime to me is like, well, yes, of course. I have dinner every day. I need dinner. We need dinner to eat. Eating is important. I don't get it as to, would you like to come out on a date with me for dinner? It's just like, is he asking me if I eat dinner? Of course I eat dinner. Strange man. So guys would often ask me to do things, to meet them, to go to places, and I'd go. But I wouldn't understand it as a date. Catch up Friday night? Okay, we can catch up Friday night. People catch up on Friday nights. That seems to be a thing at the end of the week where people go out and they catch up on Friday nights and they have drinks and they talk. So, okay, we'll do this. All right, so we catch up on Friday nights and we just talk and have drinks. So, what? That's fine. That's just what humans do. I don't understand it as dating. So I'd be out at some dinner or drinky thingy movie, whatever it was that I'd joined in on, thinking I was just accompanying a person to a thing. And I get really confused at the end of it when one would kiss me. You know, why were they kissing me? Were they hoping perhaps that I would swoon? I certainly didn't feel like swooning. You know, this was odd. Perhaps I should slap the person. That happened in some movies, but I'd been having a nice time. The person hadn't been bad or mean, so slapping him didn't seem right either. So, you know, I didn't tend to slap them. I didn't quite know what to do. I found this whole thing really rather odd. What's with the sudden kissy thing? In the movies and on TV, once kissing commenced, whether or not there was any swooning, someone would tend to profess undying love. The other would confess to secretly feeling the same. And then the male would drop to one knee and propose, and you'd ride off in the sunset and be happy ever after. So to me, if a man kissed me, I would assume that he loved me. And I would expect that even if I didn't swoon, undying love would shortly be professed, we would marry, and immediately commence with the breeding. Now, I found very quickly that males were not professing undying love. So I thought that perhaps as a modern woman, I should just try saying it and encouraging them. Maybe what was mundane would suddenly blossom into an episode of sudden musical, wondrous romance, and everything would be happy ever after. But that tended to drive males away. Strange women just, I think I love you, is just, what? Okay. They don't get it. Males don't seem to want romance. I think it's pretend in the majority of cases. Males seem to think that if you talk to them, you wish to copulate. And generally, I don't wish to, but end up feeling as though I must, because somehow I've done something wrong that makes them think that I do want that. Autistic females are very vulnerable in this area. We tend not to pick up on intent. So I have been in serious relationships, but not through traditional dating methods. They've been through getting to know someone as a friend and forming a relationship from that point. So that's very different to dating. Relationships to me are something that's different to dating. I get into a relationship person if I know them as a friend first. Don't get into a relationship with a person if you date them, because dating's weird. In between marriages, which I'm not very good at, I failed 3. In between marriages, I was encouraged to date. I found this really difficult. My options were to go to a bar. No way, wasn't going to do that. Or back then it was like adverts in a newspaper. Now it's over the internet. So encouraged by my kids, first of all, I tried answering adverts in the paper for a while. Now, this was problematic because adverts in the paper aren't real, and I don't understand that. I expect if something's written down for me, it is going to be real. So these adverts were like coded, and I did not understand the codes. I would wonder why there were adverts about couples looking for a single female friend for fun. Like, why can't you just have fun with your friends, or your kids' friends or something? I never replied to those adverts, but I had no idea what they meant. I have been taught what they meant. Or what a dominant man looking for a submissive female meant. I learnt that one the hard way. And what the heck were all those acronyms? Attempting to date that way was really hard. And if you did go on a date and you didn't like the person, what were you supposed to do? How do you end a date if you don't like it? How do you make something stop that you don't like and that you don't want? Trying to date this way was horrible. It was frightening. It was really not good. I was completely unequipped for it. I did not understand it. My brain does not comprehend what's going on, what's expected, or even the subtleties leading up to things that inevitably happen, or how to handle them when they do. I do not understand flirting. Guys will tell me I've been flirting with them, but to me, I'm just talking about random things that pop in my head, and I just babble away, and then at some point someone will kiss me, and I think that's probably to shut me up, or that they've wildly fallen in love with me and that we're going to ride off into the sunset and be happy ever after. I'm not sure. I tried internet dating once too, but not for long. That was weird. Because apparently you are supposed to make up a whole fake person for this. But I don't do that. And why would you do that? If you're looking for a person, why don't you just be who you are? That did not make sense to me. Why would you just be a fake person? So I sat down and wrote out a well thought out and brutally honest description of myself, and thought that being honest, I should also put up a selection of honest photographs. So I put one up with me wearing makeup and a dress, me with my hair up, me with my hair down, me with no makeup, me looking dirty and scruffy, me in a cocktail dress, me all sweaty by a bicycle, me wielding an axe for chopping firewood. I'm not a murderer. I got a very quick response from a male human advising me that it was too much and dangerous and that I would get myself into trouble, but that he'd be willing to meet with me and teach me and help me. I refused because he was probably being a creepy weirdo, because there are creepy weirdos onto the internet, and I was being honest, and being honest is good, isn't it? Looking back, he probably was a nice guy genuinely trying to help, but I didn't know that I blocked him. Dating and romance are not like Hollywood. There is no music, there is no singing, dancing and swooning, and there's no such thing as a tall, dark, handsome man in a white hat on a horse looking great in tights when winning at sword fights who's going to sweep you off and carry you off into happy ever after land. Dating as an autistic female is a world of confusion, getting yourself into situations you do not want to be in and you do not know how to get out of. Most autistic females will know this. Most of us have experienced this, I am sure. We are very vulnerable. So if you have an autistic daughter, she will need a lot of support to navigate the big bad world, because it is a big bad world if you're an autistic female. She will need a lot of very careful guidance. Don't lock up your daughters. Do look after them. Thank you. Be well.